Hello, my friends. I'm Rick. You're not. I was out working late Friday night cleaning the grease interceptor out of a restaurant named Hannah Sushi way out on the west side of Des Moines. And while doing so, I started listening to some various stuff from Joe Rogan. And one of the clips he had of he was interviewing Neil Tyson Gillespie, or however announced that feller. He's a famous astrophysicist. I've watched a lot of his stuff over the last 10 years or so. He's quite knowledgeable and heavily opinionated, and I kind of like that. But this little feller, this little alien fella here was sitting on their thumbnail to the entry for the video, which kind of immediately at a first glance I thought, Jesus, this looks like a fellow. You know, if a dolphin was on two legs, this might be how the fellow looked like. And, you know, for everything we know about dolphins, there's a lot more we don't. And it's a strong belief in a lot of people that dolphins are quite intelligent, or right on the cusp of becoming sentient and as intelligent as we are in our mind. And as far as we know, you know, we may not know shit, and they may very well be as intelligent or smarter than we are. The only difference is that perhaps because of their physiology, they're not capable of speaking English and even trying to, and obviously they're not going to do a whole lot of sign language and things like this. And because they don't have opposable digits or digits at all, they can't do a whole lot of fine detailed construction unless you've got some psychic stuff going on where you do all this maneuvering with the powers of your mind, which is quite a possible thing in the grand scheme of the universe. That said, if there was an argument for dolphins being evolved from aliens, this little frigger here makes me think that. Now, you know, that brings me to the main subject of the video, and it was and I've seen these before. This was the Mexican mummy. It was back in the spring, I think it was, when they were introduced at this big press conference down in Mexico, and there was a little bit of hoopla about it, and then nothing. And I don't think any of it made to the major TV or news outlets up here, because why would they? Everything, it's all about Trump, and all things Trump, and all things Trump, Trump. So, you know, and first glance, I took one look at these things, and I just immediately dismissed them and thought, yeah, it's some kind of hoax. They're fake. I mean, they don't look anything like what I think a mummy should look like. Obviously, they should look like the mummy, or these mummies from the Egyptian mummy, the atypical mummy as we think of mummies. And I dismissed it. And then months went by, and I didn't think about them again. And then, like I said, I seen this video, and which got me thinking again. And one of the downsides of immediately dismissing anything is that you're shortchanging yourself, because you're not giving yourself a time. You might go and say, you know, I'm going to withhold any kind of opinion on something because I'm still trying to, come to grips with what the hell it is I think I'm thinking, right? So first impressions are not always a good thing when you're trying to reason and critically think about stuff. Knee-jerk thought processes cause more problems in humanity than any damn thing else that I can think of, short of religion, right? So my first thought was, these things are stone. They're crude. Somebody made these things out of clay, hard-baked clay, or they're carved them out of crappy stone. And in some cases, even this one fellow looks like he's just concrete poured in, crappy concrete poured in a bad frame to make. It's like some weird lawn ornament these guys were making, and then these guys said, "Oh no, we're gonna, those are alien bodies." Okay. Right, so I dismissed it. But then I got thinking. How many real bones? We all have heard about the dinosaur bones. If you've gone to public museums and things, you find the dinosaur bones, or things they claim are dinosaur bones. Well, then over the years, after I've watched a lot of videos, a lot of shows and stuff on this sort of topic material, it starts to come out where I start to understand that, well, what we're actually looking at is not the real stone or the real bones of the dinosaurs. Really, it's a calcified version of them. Basically, they've been turned to stone, which is why they're able to survive millions of years in the ground and not totally be turned into dust, right? So, and they didn't disintegrate, they calcified, or whatever they call it, so they became stone-like. And what if these proposed alien mummies are millions of years old or hundreds of thousands of years old enough to have been calcified, and this is how they found them, right? This brings us to a lot of questions, a lot of unanswered questions. So Tyson DeGeese or Neil Tyson, whatever however he pronounces his damn name, the feller's the astrophysicist in charge of a big ass observatory. He's all news. He's on YouTube and TV a lot. Pretty smart, pretty smart fella, pretty savvy fella. And he says they invited me to come down there to vet these things, to examine these things, and he refused to go. He turned them down. And the reason he said, because he didn't turn them down because he said they were fake. He said, I turned them down because why would you want me? He says, that's not my line of work. I'm not a specialist in blah. You need a biologist. You need, you need maybe, you need the biological guys. You need the material guys. You need the people, not planetologists, but planetologists or panetologists. How the hell y'all pronounce that shit? The fellers, the dinosaur guys. They need to go investigate these things. They need to go and examine them. They need to determine if these things are not just something somebody carved together or made out of poured concrete, or if they're actually calcified bone or something else. Because they look fake as all get out at a glance. But the only way to know one way or another is to actually do tests on them. And then I found that some interesting, what the hell is going on? After the initial foray of these things, you don't hear or see nothing about it. They don't talk about it hardly, except on shows like Joe Rogan, or dumbass shows like mine, where we're sitting here and I'm blabbering about it. But none of the mainline interests, none of the important science and space and culture channels have any interest in this stuff at all. So it's like they just up and disappeared. Did they? Now, if you were a scientist in Mexico's come a long way. I really don't think it's fair to call them a third world country. I really don't think Mexico qualifies as a third world country. It's a matter of who's qualifying, I guess. There's a lot more countries in South America that definitely fit that category, but Mexico's no. They're equal with the first line. The first world. They're part of the first world, for God's sake. That said, if you're working down there and you can't get anybody to take you serious about something that you found that just blows your mind away, and you really want some experts, you want people who have better skill sets and opportunities to do investigations into whatever it is, you might need to grandstand. You might need to go up there on national TV and wave the flag and wave the mummies around to try to get attention. Perhaps they actually achieved that, and they got the attention of the right people in the shadows here in the States, and now these mummies mummies, I understand with more than one of them, are now in some deep think tank somewhere being examined by people, right? And we'll never hear from them again, or hear of their, hear or see of them again. It's so frustrating sometimes that we're so quick as a society and as a species to dismiss anything that's not in our comfort zone. It's like I hear over and over again from a lot of these people that go on Joe Rogan, but also in other shows that they also participate in, where they talk about how, and even this Neil Tyson guy says the same thing. There's been this caliphation in our academic world too, that we're so many people that are so hell-bent, fired to follow a specific line. This is how we've all agreed that this thing's supposed to work, and this is how we're all going to agree it does work. And in the long term, forgetting the very basis is that, new discoveries can change everything. You have to be open-minded. You just have to be if you really want to be successful as a species. All right? So, yeah, these things, I still think they look fake. But I also think we need to do a little more research on them. I would like to see some paleontologists examine these things. I would like to see some material engineers get some samples, because they can tell if this stuff's just poured concrete. It would tell pretty quick if it's carved granite. And then there would be no mystery at that point, or very little mystery. The only mystery would be is who made them and why. You know, not anything else at that point. Anyway, it's just my thought. Till next time, enjoy the holidays are coming.
It just irritates me to no end.